So this violation of freedom of expression, freedom of speech, protection of your civic duty, enforcement into organization of a foreign code and custom. What they're doing is they're using, if you looked at Bend, Oregon, you would see a department, it'd be on my birthday, it's the address, okay? It's the DMV or DOT, 10/29/1980. Next to that is Melvin. This guy that bit me on the ass when I was a kid, and then Bethlehem. All right. So what they're doing over DOT, Department of Transportation, or daughter or duty, is taking over transportation. That is transit. Department of Transit. So somebody on the street be considered transit, right? Transient. And they're keeping people on the street and putting pressure to feed upon them, fill their jails and all that good stuff. It's also Department of Industry. So where they had that insurance, they were reaching in through 911 emergency broadcast, and the hospitalities reaching in to the insurance, breaking into the Fed. They're also breaking into Bitcoin and about everything else. And they're putting a barrier between you and them in a reverse cycle. They're using Paiute and Ute tribe between Oregon, Utah, Washington, and the tri-state areas to use expansion to take for officer recovery services of your daughters or the stars. Freedom of expression. This is real stuff. So your motorcycle license, they're using reverse habeas corpus of your motor skills motorcycle to take possession of your person, of your identity, to take credit and distribute it through Social Security. Social Security is strong community. It is trust and bond between us as people. And they're taking your trust. They're double taxation and reinforcing by these big corporations, taking all your earnings and building a prison for you in action of that. That is a corpse having movement and stating that it is life and must be protected. And allowing these businesses and monopoly of corporations, these city policies and organizations, through city code and ordinance, are controlling the independent businesses that aren't even contracting, forced contracts of intellectual properties of information and considering people to be public. Now, the Constitution was written in pub, meaning the granted land for public use. It doesn't mean that it's property. Your properness and your custom by custom must be maintained from origination in which we stand. That is to stand the grounds on which we stand. Now, to put you in a state of fear is to take your property. It is also inhumane trafficking to eat upon you in fear. It is used in the Geneva Convention and the Tacoma case, which is that Ted Bundy had was from Tacoma, Washington, into Utah to Bottom Immigration Canyon. Well, I got some land up there, but the thing is they used the Josh Powell case. I've got, he moved from Utah. I have a daughter they put in, well, she's not really my daughter. They falsified a DNA test, and her name is Olivia Graham. But Joshua Powell had went to Graham, Washington, as they social and psychotically attacked this man for one Susan. I have a secondary Social Security number to one Susan. Can you believe that? They fucking came after me for everything. But to Graham, Washington, when he supposedly blew up the house and his kids, they said that he took their lives. But to take your life is to blacklist you or take your way of life. That's what coronavirus did. My grandfather's name was John Wayne. Just like the John Wayne, but he wasn't a killer, but the John Wayne Grace case. Also through this breaking of the cerebellum into the mind and having control above of Jacob's ladder, you find yourself with the Charles Manson case. All right. The police departments in Oregon are 555, all of them, which is XXX, triple X of a strip club, right? They own the tow truck company, the paramedics, into the hospital, right there on the coast. They've got their hand in the whole thing. All right? So if they take one car up there, they take 5,000 this way. They're using expansion of uniform information and blocking communication between city to city. Do you understand that they're veiling people in human trafficking and actually taking people into international water? I got my head bashed into the ground on the boardwalk in a state park. The police department is attacking that small little abandoned city. So they're using Jimmy Carter's action of people in the state of survival or a state of imminent danger and forcing that. But what they're doing is installing these foreign codes inside of themselves against their own moral code and compass, creating a state of emergency within, which creates their own Statue of Liberty and protecting themselves with their own shadow, a false shadow. And they're looked to as heroes by taking their civic duty and the life, land, and liberty and dragging by Statue of Liberty, and they're passing their Declaration of Independence to the incorporated side of their job, and in stating that they are authority and stating sovereignty and protection of the Queen against your independence and attacking the infrastructure of the United States. They got sheriff's department. They're allowing these privately held companies that are not governmental or voted in authorities and getting protection from the sheriff's department and going into the police departments, and then they're holding their courts on their own to take money and blocking people of independence from even being heard.